So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this information session on the Circular Bio-Based Europe Joint Undertaking, also called CBE JU. My name is Simon Ardin, and I'm a member of the CARE4BIO network. CARE4BIO provides national contact points and applicants useful information and insights to help you apply for fundings under Horizon Europe, Cluster 6, and partnerships. We try to provide a better understanding of the Horizon Europe ecosystem. And so, well, some of you are familiar with CBE JU, some less so. CBE JU is an institutionalized partnership of growing interest from our Cluster 6 stakeholders with dedicated annual funding on specific research and innovation themes within the scope of Cluster 6. CBE JU provides support for transnational collaborations that can be an excellent starting point to access EU funding. Well, in order to enhance the participation of all stakeholders, CARE4BIO will provide you an informative session to share information and details on this program. We will have three speakers today, Mr. Dieter Brigitta, who is a CBE JU Program Officer and Call Coordinator, and he will give us some more details about the topic structures on the Call 2025. He will also tell us about CBE JU specifics, focusing on similarities and differences with Horizon Europe. We will also have Mr. Luis Fonseca and Ricardo Varotto, who will present the Polymers 5B project. They will also give some tips and tricks for coordinators and applicants and explain us how to take part in CBE JU. Comments and questions can be submitted on the YouTube chat that you will see on your screen, and we will dedicate some time at the end of both presentations. So if you have some questions, please do not hesitate to put them on the chat. All the materials you will see today will also be available on the CARE4BIO website. So, well, thank you for your participation, and I will now give the floor to Mr. Dieter Brigitta.
Perfect, thank you, Simon. I'll just wait until I see my presentation. There we go. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dieter Brigitta. I'm indeed the call coordinator of CBE JU. And in this introductory presentation, what I'd like to do with you is to introduce or maybe reintroduce CBE JU to you. Some of you might already have heard of us, others it might still be something a bit exotic. So let me, in a couple of slides, introduce what CBE JU is. And then, as Simon said, the bulk of this presentation will be dedicated to explaining a bit what the topics are of Call 2025, but mainly also some similarities and differences with Horizon Europe, because we are fully embedded within the Horizon framework. Fully embedded, but we also have our specific requirements. So spending a bit of time on those is also relevant. And then lastly, also, where can you find more information? I can tell you a lot in 20 minutes, but of course, I cannot tell you everything. So if you want to read a bit more, I will tell you where you can find that information. So let's start with talking a bit about who we actually are. So CBE JU, the Circular Bio-Based Europe Joint Undertaking. Some of you might know us better from our predecessor, which was BBI JU, the Bio-Based Industries Joint Undertaking. Both of these programs were part of the Horizon umbrella, Horizon 2020 in BBI times, Horizon Europe in CBE JU times. And being a public-private partnership, the main difference, I would say, with the standard Horizon way of working is that being a public-private partnership, thanks to our private partner, we are very impact-driven. We are really looking towards stimulating, structuring, de-risking circular bio-based industries in Europe. How does that translate to the type of projects that we fund? Basically, we fund 3 to 4 types of projects. We fund the so-called RIAs, Research and Innovation Actions. Again, similar terminology as is also used in Horizon. What are RIAs? There we use this technological maturity scale, the TRLs, technology readiness levels. So for RIAs, Research and Innovation Actions, we're aiming for an end TRL at the end of the project of 3, 4, or 5, depending on what specifically is requested in the topic. And there indeed, the RIAs are about development, validating technologies, I would say usually more on a lab level, laboratory level. But we also fund other types of projects, the so-called innovation actions. And there we have two types. You have the standard innovation actions. There the envisaged end TRLs are 6 to 7. And there it's about leaving the laboratory and scaling up. You know, it's great that you can produce something in a lab level, maybe a kilo of something. But yes, in order for it to become commercial, you need to see if you can actually upscale the production, making sure that it remains environmentally and economically viable. So this is about these standard innovation actions really are about upscaling. And then a very specific type of innovation actions are the so-called flagships. So flagships, there the end TRL is 8, you know, on a scale from 1 to 9, if you're already at 8, that shows it's very close to market. And there what we're doing is we're funding large-scale, first-of-their-kind production facilities in Europe. So these are really biorefineries, factories that we are funding, and first time really on a commercial scale that certain circular bio-based end products are being produced. The fourth type of projects that we also fund are the so-called CSAs, coordination and support actions, non-technological projects, so no clear link with these TRLs. But as you will see in the example in Call 2025, the CSA that we have there, indeed, it's, as the name already suggests, it's more about supporting these other types of projects to ensure that there is better market uptake of these circular bio-based products. When we look at the past calls, because you know in BBI we started in 2014, and since 2022 we're in the CBE JU environment. If you look, what have we done since then? Well, there are still 192 projects, more than 1,500 beneficiaries, more than €1 billion of funding has been provided to these projects so far, coming from 43 different countries. So also there, not only the EU countries. You know, we're still 27 countries, but we are again fully embedded within Horizon, meaning that also other organizations in other countries are also entitled to participate, and most countries in the world are also automatically eligible for funding. When we then look where did the money go to, well, you know, 67%, so about two-thirds, indeed went to private companies. You know, being an impact-driven program close to markets, maybe not that surprising. But what might surprise you is to see that 35% of this whole funding went to SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises. So yes, large enterprises are getting a significant part of the funding, but SMEs as well, even more than the large enterprises. And then if you look at the other entities that are receiving funding there, I would say maybe the usual suspects for Horizon, research organizations, higher education establishments, also some others. If you're wondering what are these others, can be different things, can be trade federations, can be forestry owners, can be farmer cooperatives, etc. So cities even. So again, very varied. And this is also one of the reasons why we exist. It is because this is a very broad sector when we're looking at circular bio-based. So we are using these projects in a way to de-risk new investments, but also to bring all these different parties together. Because in usual circumstances, farmers might find it more difficult to really collaborate with, for example, chemical companies or with other types of federations, etc. So we're really using these projects to bring the right people around the table and to collaborate in a European context. So this is, let's say, the aim, who we are. When we then look at Goal 2025 and how we work, well, we work in an annual way. So this is also one of the differences with the standard Horizon way of working. Usually there you have work programs that are 2 or 3 years. We work in an annual way. And this year, the official call launch will be on the 4th of April. And then you will have until the 17th of September, 5 o'clock Brussels time, to submit your proposals. Then these proposals will be evaluated by mid-January of next year. Everyone will receive at the same time the outcome of the evaluation. And then the next phase starts as a so-called grant agreement preparation, where we will transform the highest scoring proposals into signed grant agreements, signed contracts, ongoing projects. Now, what's important to know for you as well now, when you will write a proposal, is that the estimated project start dates is, let's say, the earliest is probably May or June of 2026. So you will submit in September, but you will only be able to start somewhere in May or June. So also please take that into account when you're writing your proposals, thinking of growing seasons, for example, that might have an impact, and also, of course, inform your consortium about this. In call 2025, we have 13 topics. Not going to go into detail in each of these topics. Even if I would spend only 2 minutes per topic, that would already be an info event on its own. But what I want to highlight here is that there are really a lot of different, how shall I say, focus areas. So you see in the 4 different colors, the 4 types of actions that I described beforehand, the flagships, the innovation actions, the RIAs, and the CSAs. But you also see that the focus in some topics, the focus is on the inputs that can be used. For example, flagship 1, bio-waste as an input. IA1 algae, macroalgae as an input, RIA1 forest biomass as an input, whereas other topics are more focused on the envisaged end products. Flag 3, fiber-based packaging, IA3, proteins, RIA2, the delivery systems for fertilizing products, etc. So really, there is a bit of everything, sometimes input, sometimes output, and sometimes also more on the processing. For example, in IA4, there we're really looking at these continuous processes instead of batch processes. So again, really a bit for everything, for everyone on different technological levels, and also this one CSA, coordination and support action. So I told you it's less technological. Here you can see what I meant. Here we're talking about, in this CSA, about developing and deploying new curricula and knowledge exchange practices relevant to bio-based systems. So again, this is not technological research or innovation, but as you can see, by supporting these types of projects, we also encourage the market uptake of all these bio-based innovations. If, and this is also already something I can say now, if you're interested in all of this, please do find us during our Brussels Info Day, where we'll go a bit more into detail in each of these topics, but also have a look on our website. Why? Because in collaboration, sometimes with NCPs, sometimes with other local partners, we also try to organize local events online or on site, more regional, country, or bigger regions, let's say all across Europe. So please follow us there. And there, of course, we can go a bit more into detail than in this 20-minute introductory presentation here. A disclaimer. We are still discussing some elements to fine-tune, also based on some questions that we've received from US applicants. So potential topic updates, maybe even some budgetary updates, are still possible before the call will officially be published in the Funding and Tender Opportunities portal. So you can already find our annual work program 2025 on the CBE JU website, including a description, a lot more detail of all these topics. But the final versions will only be uploaded in the portal 4th of April. So there might still be some tweaks here and there. So please keep an eye on any changes, which of course we will also communicate. Now, each topic has a very similar structure. It will start, let's say, with this specific table that you see here, saying what type of action it is, how much funding there is. And in this example, they say indicative budget 14 million, but about 7 million approximately per project, meaning when you read this, you know that there is actually budget for this topic to fund 2 proposals. Also maybe something relevant to take into account when you're looking for the most appropriate topic to write a proposal for. And here you can then also see what the envisaged end TRL is for this specific topic. We said that we are fully embedded within Horizon Europe, meaning that the eligibility and admissibility criteria that are relevant for Horizon Europe also apply to us. You can find those in the so-called general annex. We use the same type of evaluation criteria as Horizon, excellence, impact, and implementation. But in our own annual work program, we also describe our topics, our specific requirements, our specific budget. The good news for you is you will not need to open 20 documents at the same time. We will group all of this information together in our proposal templates, which again will also be published around the 4th of April, where you can just follow that template to make sure that these are the elements that I need to incorporate in my proposal in order to increase my chances of being successful. Now, as with any program, we also have our specific requirements, our specificities, which I'll just give an overview of in the next 2 slides. So what are some important elements to take into account when you're considering applying for CBE JU is the feedstock, the inputs that you will be using. So you need to convince the expert evaluators that will evaluate your proposal that where the feedstock is coming from is eligible. We explain in our annual work program what these eligibility criteria are, that it's sustainable, not just, shipping it from I don't know where. No, it really needs to be sustainable as well, and it needs to be clear. You would still be surprised with how many proposals we get that don't even clearly describe what type of inputs that they will be using. Well, then you're really shooting yourself in the foot there. So please take that into account. This clearly describing the feedstock is important. Maybe not surprising is also that environmental performance is one of the key elements that need to be taken into account in the evaluation. And there are two big blocks. You have an ex-ante assessment and an ex-post assessment. So ex-ante, there are certain elements, some environmental issues that you should have already investigated before you submit your proposal. Ex-post, these are things that you commit to do if your proposal becomes a project, so things that you should do and only do during the project itself. But again, we do require you to already have done some environmental homework, the ex-ante assessment, by the time that you submit your proposal. We also have the multi-actor approach. Not going to go into too much detail here because it only applies to some, not all topics. Economic aspects, there are differences per type of action. So for the RIAs, yes, we already ask you to think about the economics, the business case that will come after. We ask you to describe a so-called qualitative business case, so describing, okay, what could come out of this this research and innovation action. And then the closer that you get to market, the more in-depth economic information we ask you to provide, because of course for a flagship, we want to be sure that you have thought about a market, that you will have enough inputs, that there is a market for your end products, etc. And then there are a couple of more general things, digital technologies, social sciences and humanities recommendations. These elements indeed are relevant for most types of projects as well. So what are some similarities and differences with Horizon? Well, the funding rate, very important as well. So we have the same funding rate for our RIAs, but for the innovation actions there, the funding rate is 60%, which is different from the standard Horizon. You can still get 100% if you're a nonprofit, even in innovation actions. So that is the same. Page limits. Well, let's be fair. We ask you to describe a couple of additional things, these CBE JU specific elements. So it's only fair that we give you more space to actually do that. So this is also why the page limits for CBE JU are higher than the standard Horizon page limits. The scoring threshold, as I said, we are an impact-driven program, meaning that the threshold to that you need to reach for the impact evaluation criterion is 4 out of 5. In a lot of other programs, it's 3, meaning also that the total threshold is 11 out of 15. And then lastly, the award criteria, I said, indeed, we evaluate each proposal based on 3 main criteria: excellence, impact, and implementation. But there is a CBE JU specific impact sub-criterion that has to do with probably the most CBE JU specific thing of all, which is the IKOP. So that does require one separate slide to explain that a bit. So what is this strange beast, this IKOP? IKOP is very simple. We look at a consortium. We see in that consortium who are the members of BIC, so the organizations that are a member of our private partner, BIC, the Bio-Based Industries Consortium. And there we check, okay, only for these BIC members, what are their costs? What is their requested funding? The difference between those two, this is their IKOP. And then we need to check, is this IKOP at a high enough percentage? 5% for RIAs, 15% for IAs, 20% for flagship. So allow me to give you one example here. Suppose that this is a budget table of a RIA in this case. So a RIA, that means that you need to reach at least 5% of IKOP. So this is a budget table where we have 5 organizations, 5 beneficiaries. First one, the coordinator, and then we have, let's say, suppose that we have 2 BIC members. We have 1 BIC member, beneficiary 3. So they mention their total eligible costs. Okay. Then we see what is the type of funding that they are requesting. And there you see that for beneficiary 3, although their total eligible costs are 700,000 euros, they should be entitled to 100% funding, but they manually decrease their requested funding to 500,000, meaning that BIC member costs minus requested funding is IKOP. So in this case, this is 200,000 euros. Okay. 200,000 euros. It could be that another beneficiary also does this. So in this case, beneficiary 5, they're also manually reducing their requested funding. But because they're not a big member, that reduction is not taking into account when calculating the IKOP. And in this case, unfortunately, the total IKOP is the only IKOP that can be provided by the big members, in this case, beneficiary 3, 200,000 euros. If we divide that with the total cost of the project, that is unfortunately below the requested 5%, meaning that for the impact evaluation sub-criterion related to IKOP, this proposal would score negatively. We also included similar examples of the IA and flagship budget tables. We'll include those in the so-called FAQ for applicants, which will be published or end of this week or early next week, the latest. So where can you find more information? Again, I realize that this is a lot already to take in. But where can you find more information? I would say there are two main sources of information. One, the Horizon online manual. Because we're fully embedded within the Horizon framework, the good news for you as well is that all the guidelines, tips and tricks, IT manuals that are also applicable and easily found via the Horizon online manual, you can also use. If you already have some experience in other Horizon programs, fantastic, because this is very useful expertise that you can valorize as well for CBE, because we use exactly the same IT tool to register your organizations to submit your proposals. But also on the CBE JU website, there under open calls for proposals, this is the place where we will mention the FAQ for applicants, but also the link to the so-called networking platform. And networking in this case really is important. So what are some networking opportunities that you could consider? First of all, via the funding and tender opportunities portal itself, there is this partner search function. So as of the 4th of April, once that our topics are mentioned in the portal, you can search for the topic, you can leave your coordinates, you can say, I am organization A, I have this expertise, and I'm looking for these types of partners to potentially build a consortium together for this topic. Through our private partner, BIC, they also organize their own networking activities. For example, next week, next Wednesday, there is one here in close to Brussels, where the BIC members themselves network. And early February, so in the next couple of weeks, we will also open the networking platform. This is our own platform that we have created, made it very CBE JU specific. Again, a free search, free option for you as well to create a profile, to be found by other organizations, but also to browse and thus find other organizations to build your own consortium. So keep an eye on the CBE JU website. In the next couple of days or weeks, this will also open. And of course, a lot more information will be provided not only in the regional info days that I already mentioned, but also in the big info day that we organize ourselves in Brussels, which this year will be on the 3rd of April, a bit earlier than usual, mainly because of the late Easter this year. So we want to be sure that we organize everything before the Easter holidays so that you can all participate physically or online. Again, registrations will open in probably the first half of February, and you're all very welcome and warmly invited to join us there. And that's it from my side, just a quick introduction, let's say, to CBE JU, who we are, what we do. And with that, I gladly yield the floor back to Simon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dieter, for this very clear and complete presentation of CBE JU. So, well, actually, we just have one question for you from Daniela, who is asking if it's mandatory to have big partners in research and innovation action.
So it is not mandatory in the sense that you can submit a proposal. There will not be an eligibility criterion telling you, you don't have any big members, too bad, not getting any funding. However, if you don't have any big members, that means you will not, by definition, have any IKOP. So you will never reach this 5% threshold. So you already know that, okay, for that evaluation sub-criterion, I won't score positively. So then you already start with, let's say, a delay, or what is the compared to, let's say, other organizations that might have big members, or other consortia that might have big members and that might be able to reach this 5% threshold.
All right. Thank you very much. So we just had one question. So I think that it means that CBE JU no longer holds any secrets for you. So really, thank you very much. That was great. And then, well, we also wanted to give you a concrete example of a project, because it's always better to see how projects works. And then we will have the testimony of Ricardo Barreto on Luis. Also from Portugal. So I will let them the floor. So I will let the floor to Ricardo to present his project.
Thank you, Simon. Let me share the presentation. Start the contribution from our project, Polymas 5B. My name is Ricardo Barotto. I'm a project manager. My company, MSB from Italy, which is the communication, dissemination, the exploitation leader of the Polymas 5B project. And I will introduce also Luis Fonseca, scientific coordinator, for the second part of my presentation. First of all, the name Polymas 5B. Why 5B? Well, the full title of the project that is mentioned in this slide is easy to understand from the B in capital letter synthesis of bio-based, first B, and biodegradable polymers, the second B, from monomers, from renewable bio-bases, third B, biocatalysis and chemistry, biocatalysis, the fourth B, and the contribution to the European circular bioeconomy. This is the fifth B that introduced the acronym of our project. Well, about the project will be summarized in this slide, what we are going to introduce in this presentation. But don't be afraid, because the purpose of the aim of this contribution today is not to go in depth in the scientific detail. Also, because I'm not a researcher, I'm a dissemination leader. But we will do our best to provide an overview of Polymas 5B project, and in the second part, we will also do we cooperated together to build a strong consortium and a successful proposal. Well, about the project, the Polymas 5B project is one of the RIA, so as already introduced, we are talking about research and the action. We submitted our proposal for the call of 2023. So we started in June 2024, and the duration for the 4 years will be until the May 2028. We are dealing with some peculiar feedstock. The biomasses are coming from the food industry, some streams, linen and wood residues. And the main products that are expected at the end of the project will be bio-based polymers, of course, and some plastics. Polymas 5B opens up with a wider range of bio-based products to meet the market demand. And the challenge is to transform the European industrial plastics sector into a robust bio-based production system. This is a concrete challenge that we will work for different applications. We're going to introduce very soon. But what I liked in this slide, we work also for the textile industry, how to contribute to improve sustainability, safety, and security compared to the standard methods. That's the reason why we also joined recently the ecosystems community for this final application that will be related to the textile industry. But let me provide a quick overview about the consortium, so the partners that we are presenting with this slide in from different countries. We have our leader from Portugal, 6 different research training organizations, 1 education institution, 4 SMEs, 2 large companies from different sectors. We have partners from Italy, and Spain, Portugal, Estonia, and Germany. The different sector are also represented. Industries representing final end user for the final purpose and application. The context and the objectives we summarize with the slide in the novel alternative bio-based polymers that are synthesized from bio-renewable monomers sourced from undisploded QG feedstock. We will also take advantage of the enabling technology digital enabling technologies as machine learning tools, and safe and sustainable by design approaches are also part of our methodology. In the main know-how that we will be exploited, especially from the patent that have been the patents that have been already reached by the scientific coordinator, are related to biocatalysis and gray chemistry process to generate novel bio-based polymers targeting the proven biodegradability in textile, automotive, furniture, and polymeric resin markets. These are the four industries that are dealing with the polymers 5B project. So the feedstock, we are like that we are talking about different agri-food waste, especially from the tomato processing industry. So we have companies that are based in Portugal that are processing the tomatoes for final products like ketchup, for instance, and also cooperatives forms that are producer of olives, and the olive waste are the second agri-food waste will be exploited for the feedstock. The second one there is related for the wood pulp, lignin derivatives, and will be taking charge from our partners from Latvia. And the process technologies I already mentioned, of course, will be especially for biocatalysis and the gray chemistry. What kind of products and intermediates we will produce during the research and the action implementation? The simply intermediate products are related to bio-based monomers. Diacetyls, diols, diamides, hydroxy acid, amino acids, aromatic phenolic compounds, fatty acids, oils, furans. This something that will be taking charge for some research partners for the first delivery of intermediates. That will be the starting point for novel bio-based polymers with functional groups, or will be delivered by the end of the project. And we are talking about polyesters, polyamides, polyphenols, mimic properties with other fossil-based polymers, PP, PUS, ABS, or biocomposite and different polymeric materials. At the end, the industries and application are exactly as I mentioned before: textile for the production of some biodegradable fabrics for clothing, automotive with sustainable car parts for some interior components. The industrial part in that case is Iberolaf, based in Portugal, and for the textile we have a Spanish same company. The name is Bobusus. For the furniture, biodegradable furniture components, especially films for different wood panels, are represented in that case from an Italian company, Bonlex Europe as well, and the polymeric resins, the end of sustainable resins for various industrial applications will be delivered by the National Institute for Wood, National Latvian Institute for the Biochemistry, and this is the final, the last of our industry application. Representing also in this scheme picture, just to let you know, just to start to provide some tips and tricks. So this scheme, this graph have been attached, will be has been attached as a part of the description of action of our project for the submission. So something that will be supposed to be helpful for the evaluators, that they identify immediately from the feedstock, tomato, olive bar, the pulp, the biodiversity, the processes that are expected to be implemented within the polymers fiber project until the products for the different application, the industry that I already mentioned, textile, automotive, furniture, polymeric resin. And this can provide easily and quickly at glance the full process and output of polymers 5B project. So as I told from the beginning, we are not focusing today in all the scientific detail for our products and process, but probably what is relevant for our audience today is to understand we also highlight and place value or when we prepared our proposal in the benefits for the society and environment and the added value, let's say, from the polymers 5B project implementation will be identified in these four different aspects: the recyclability of the new bio-based products, the biodegradability, the lower carbon footprint of the new products delivered at the end of the project, the fair transition toward the sustainability for all European citizens, and the last part of also related to the economic viability assessment that we started for boosting the demand for the new biopolymers products and bioactive compounds, and creating the condition for a spin-off some of the key performance indicator, target to be reached as indicator of a successful project at the end of the project. Well, I'm excited to introduce our scientific coordinator, Professor Luis Fonseca, because exactly as I mentioned before, our successful proposal started from a strong ground coming from the research, the institution, the research group represented by Professor Luis Fonseca. And I would like to leave the floor to you, Luis, to introduce yourself, starting from this slide. Luis, please.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. So, good afternoon for everyone. So, my name is Luis Fonseca. I'm professor in University of Lisbon, and I am coordinator of a research group, Biocatalysis and Biotransformation, that we work mainly in biocatalysis, green chemistry, fermentation, transformation of some chemicals, sugars, fermentable, that we can produce bio-based monomers, chemicals, enzymes, antibodies, and others bioproducts that we are needed today. So the next slide, we can eventually talk about a little about the tips and tricks that I suggest that some coordinator eventually can use to build a strong consortium and then the proposal. So as you can see, so the most important thing is to start as soon as possible. So, for example, our proposal, we start in February, build the structure of the idea according to our expertise that we have in my university, in my research group, and then according to this, trying to find the call, the CBE call that we can fit the expertise and answer to the objectives and the evaluations criteria that we need to perform with this proposal. So we need to start as soon as possible because we start in February, in the end of February 2013, and we submit the proposal in September 2013, in 23rd. So we need to start to look to identify the partners that complement our expertise, and this is very important. And we starting to build like a puzzle, and we answer to this part, and then we need some support for the other partners in this, and this. So we need to understand very well what we need to complement our expertise and seek the partners, and we use mainly the National Info Days and workshops of CBE that I advise strongly to participate in these events to make the contacts with other potential partners. But the mainly information or that I use for our proposal was built according to a networking platform available by CBU, where we load our idea, our expertise, and then trying to contact with tens of different meetings with different partners to check exactly what is the piece of our puzzle that we can fill in the end. So we need to lose, it's not exactly lose, but we need to expense a lot of time with these meetings, contact with a lot of people, and check exactly what is the best partner to help us or complement our expertise. So was through the networking platform that I know Ricardo and the other partners that help us to build a strong proposal. To build this proposal, so in the particular, we need to divide the call in different parts and identify exactly what is the objectives, requirements, and the most important thing, evaluation criteria of the proposal. If you don't study and analyze normally in the work group, in my university, in my research group, so we analyze very well what is the specific objectives of the call, requirements, and the evaluation, and according to this, trying to answer to the and to build the consortium and the required partners that we need to complement our expertise. So in this case, one of the most important things was to find the feedstocks that eventually we could use for this application of this project, and then the plastic manufacturers that we need to identify and to validate, test and validate the bioproducts that you want to achieve in the end. So it is important to have the integrated idea of the project. So we need to know exactly start here and finish there. And for this, to trying to implement some innovative aspects in the proposal and align with the call of the objectives. So we need a lot of months to study of these things, to build the proposal, to discuss with the partners that some of them we don't know exactly what is expertise, trying to complement all of this with a lot of meetings, and then trying to starting to build the pieces of different puzzle that we need to complement the final objective. So we starting to have the first proposal draft in June. So it was not June, July was not too late, but the holidays period was a little tricky. That makes some constraints to make the evaluation of the writing that we have in that time. You have some contributions of some partners, mainly from the partners where we are looking the complementary expertise. And the important thing was to address all the evaluation criteria that was reclaimed in the call. So we need to know, identify very well what outcomes we are going to achieve in the end of the project. What is the impact to the society, and with this project, and trying to identify some key performance indicators that can eventually valorize our project. So the excellency of the proposal is one of the most important things that we need to identify and work a lot in this field to demonstrate how strong is our proposal, and we need to evidence this excellency to the eventual evaluators that are going to participate in the evaluation of the project. So we need to demonstrate that the project have a strong impact, not only in the scientific field, but also economic and the society in Europe. So if you want to consult more deeps about this, so please trying to find in the national contact points that provide some guidance support to applicants, but trying to start as soon as possible the proposal that you are going to submit in September, and prepare the scale, invest a lot of time with the meetings and to know the partners that are going to complement expertise to achieve a successful proposal. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank
Thank
Simon.
you. Thank you very much to both of you for this presentation of your project and for these tips and tricks. I think, well, I really think it's very useful to have those advice for future applicants and coordinators. So really, thank you to both of you. So I'm just, well, we don't have any question for you. Maybe I have one question for you, Luis. What would be the main advice that you would give to future applicants? Just one big and main advice.
So what exactly I advise is to know exactly what for RIA. What is exactly the calls that the CBE proposal for this specific call in 2025 or what in the future, and trying to identify what is the expertise of a core of the partners, okay, that we are going to build, and with this core of the partners trying to check what is the right call that we have more information, more know-how that we can eventually have success in the proposal. And the other point is to know exactly, so we can answer with this core of the partners to this part, but we need to other partners that complement our expertise, this and this. For example, I don't know, or I don't have a great experience in the safety and sustainable by design, so I need to look a partner for that. I don't have in my institution someone partner in the communication, dissemination, exploitation. So in this case, I was looking for a partner, and it was Ricardo Varoto that filled this part. So we need to know what is the core of our expertise that constitute the initial group of partners that are going to submit the proposal, and then we need to invest a lot of time to complement and answer to all criteria. So the evaluation criteria that we need to answer 100%. So excellency of the proposal, impact, and implementation. If we don't demonstrate this, so we are going to don't have a 100% success of proposal.
Thank you very much. Very, very useful. Thank you. So I think we are about to conclude this information session. I'd like to thank again our three speakers who gave very clear and concise and complete presentations. And I hope that you know everything about CBE JU for now. And well, on my side, please don't forget to have a look at our website, our CARE4BIO website, where you will also find lots of useful information and where you will be able to follow us also on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. So I think this is also useful for you to know that. And please do not hesitate to contact your national contact point in your country if you have some questions about CBE JU. And well, so good luck for submitting your proposal, and thanks again to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.